Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast. My name's Tim and I'm from the OpenBytes blogazine, and with me is Dr. Roy Shestowitz from the TechBytes website.
It's Friday night and I'm gonna get sauce. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his creeper bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge, I fought the troll.
Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast episode 23. It's our first episode for 2011, so welcome, thank you for downloading. With me as usual is Gordon and Roy, and we're going to be summing up Christmas news and things that have been happening in the world of IT over the festive period and the beginning of the new year. So without further ado, we're going to crack on. Roy, I believe you're going to start us off with a couple of topics that have caught your eye in the last couple of...
I'm trying to find something that's kind of new as well as interesting, and I think lots of people talk about Hotmail at the moment, at least today. For those who don't know, some people woke up in the new year, and perhaps some of them were looking forward to reading some wishes and things like that. But they just basically found an empty box in Hotmail, and they found out they weren't the only people having this issue. And I'm not sure how it turned out and what has happened so far, because it's only been over a day now. So that's been kind of a funny story to start the year with, especially having seen the Zoom story. Just I think it was a couple of years ago. Every new year you find some new bugs in Microsoft software, and I think that there is. It just happens to be a timing issue. I think there is a second incident now to do with the Kinect, and that's something to do with the Xbox 360 and Red Rings of Death, but I haven't read sufficiently about this to know the story. I think somebody else knows about it.
Well, I covered the lost emails on my site. In fact, I just did that late last night, early hours this morning. Not a lot is known at the moment, or certainly when I wrote that article about the reason behind why the mails had disappeared. And for people that don't know, Roy mentioned the Zune from a couple of years ago. Now, what happened there? The Zune software. Apparently, for some users of certain Zunes, when the turn of the year happens, the Zune itself packed in and requires a reset and a repair, I believe, or certainly a firmware upgrade of sorts. I can't remember off the top of my head what exactly the remedy was, but in any case, a lot of people that maybe use the Zune as a jukebox, if such people do exist, would have found that at the turn of the new year, the Zune packed in, which would have been a bit of a party pooper for many if that was their sole method of playing music. So like Roy says, it's a little bit of history repeats itself, and it trails along the other story with again, which is still just hot off the press, as it were, and I must stress, still in the very early stages of being reported, and also people are making guesses and supposition as to what actually is occurring here. But the Red Rings of Death, which was something that plagued the 360 a few years back and certainly cost Microsoft a lot of money in replacing the Xboxes that didn't work. I myself am on my second one. Unfortunately for me, mine went red ringed out of warranty, so I had to actually purchase another one. But putting that aside, because we won't go any further with that, the Red Rings of Death, like Roy says, is the latest offspin of that. There's some people claiming that it's connected to the Kinect and the overheating of the GPU in the 360 as a result of using the Kinect hardware. Some people are also saying that this is only common with the older Xbox models, and there's not a lot of info on it at the moment. I think this is going to be one that we're going to see develop over the next few days, and maybe the solution will be something completely irrelevant and nothing connected with the Kinect at all. It just seems another example of a bit of a coincidence that's occurring over the New Year period. Gordon, have you covered this at all? Sorry, have you had a look at any of these issues?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm wondering actually if this is Microsoft's attempt to go to help with the energy costs or something. You know, if they can get a dual use out of your games console, you can turn it into a heater. Then great. I mean, it could also be. Okay, the more that people that their machines burn out, they need to go and buy a new machine. If you've got 20, 30 games for your console, and then the console goes out of warranty, then it's anything that's locked in to that little island. Your option is to either decide, oh no, I'm going to switch to a PlayStation this time, or whatever it is, but all these games, forget all of them, and you'll get very little resale value or trade-in value on them. Well, that used to be the case when I was a gamer. I'm not anymore. I would imagine that would still be the same. You buy something for $40 and you're lucky when you go to try and trade it in, they'll say, I'll give you £7 for it. And I just paid, it's only been out 3 weeks and I've paid £40 for it. But we need to make our markup, you know. So that's a choice you've got. You either write off all of that stuff you've got in your games, or you go and buy another console.
Well, as I say, I don't think anybody's sure about what the cause of this new red ring problem is. It may be a big coincidence. At the time of this recording, Microsoft has yet to make a comment to confirm or deny any sort of connection, or even to make a comment on the cause of the problem. And to be fair to Microsoft, I never thought I'd hear myself saying those words. It is a little bit too early to start pointing the finger of blame. I'm sure we'll have plenty of articles with Microsoft blaming people later on when the cause is discovered.
Like a lot of things, yeah. I mean, like a lot of things, they want to make them as cheap as possible. So they'll cut any sort of corners. It's not just Microsoft. Every sort of mainstream large company does that to get the very cheapest product they can get out that barely meets the quality assurance standards. There's every chance that they've just tried to cut corners too much. Or the factory they've hired, the production methods they've hired, they've just been a little bit too tight, and it's kind of backfired on them. I don't think that's unique to Microsoft, but that could well be the case. And the thing is, as long as it's profitable for them to do that, and as long as they don't have too much in the way of refunds and repairs and things like that, return to base costs or lawsuit costs. As long as they don't have too much of that, then it's something they can just write off as a cost of doing business, basically, because that'll be cheaper than actually putting more investment into not cutting the corners in the first place. Either that or they bump the price up or whatever, and they're obviously in competition with Sony as far as price and games and all this is concerned. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
And I think Gordon makes a very good point here when he says that people, gamers in general, invest a lot of money into the software for these consoles, and to a certain extent, for anybody whose warranties run out on their 360 and it has red ringed for whatever reason, they then have to balance up the investment in the software that they've got for the console with either buying a new Xbox 360 or going elsewhere. And I would hazard a guess that the vast majority of people would obviously buy another 360. So there is a certain element of extortion in a respect, because obviously once the machine's damaged or unfunctional now.
Yes. Wow.
Sorry, what?
I mean, right.
I'm trying to think of all kinds of. When something breaks, if you're using an Office suite like Microsoft's, I suppose as soon as that something breaks with the operating system, you have to retain the same operating system. You always have this chain of dependencies, and once something breaks, you still have to buy from the same supplier. One of the things that happens with Palm is people would buy again from Palm because they have existing peripherals that have something to do with the console. In the case of the Xbox, some people have faceplates, they have all kinds of peripheral equipment, and even the games themselves. So if you don't buy another one of those consoles, you lose your games in a way. So people build these collections also for PlayStation 2, and these companies take advantage of that. One thing I wanted to say before, just very quickly, is that the Zune, Microsoft was blaming the company which was making, I think, the boards. So it's not just the processor, but it's the whole package, and they have all kinds of way of packing for people a very small computer, and to try and package this within a piece of plastic and to call it whatever, Zune or iPod or something else. And they were trying to put the blame on a company which apparently had a bug in programming and something on the board itself. And what it shows you that they weren't perhaps choosing carefully enough the companies they work with. Perhaps they were choosing cheap. And the reason I bring all this stuff up is basically just to cheer us up in a way to begin the year to see some trouble. But also I should point out that Google has had a bit of an